The Herd is a play about an ordinary family in extraordinary circumstances, and essentially it's what happens when you have a child that never grows up. Andy in the play is severely physically and mentally disabled, and it's about the strain that that puts on a family. The characters are all fallible people. They're very lovable and hateable at the same time. You can identify with them because they're very human. It's written in such a way that you can believe these are real people. What you think about one character at the beginning, by the end you start questioning what your original thoughts were. This play is funny, it's moving, it's very emotional, it's written from a place of experience, and so it's very truthful. Carol is hilarious and awful and brilliant at the same time. I've worked really closely with Katie and she's been an absolute joy to work with. She is Carol.
The Herd is a bit of a different play. It is set in a real time frame. So you see the characters in this one particular family over a 1.5 to 2 hour period of time. And so the writing is extremely realistic, the characters are very realistic, and it's quite absorbing because of that. Carol is who I play, and she is a woman at the end of her tether, close to breaking down. She's just trying to cope with everything all alone. And you can see her gradually unravelling. Charly is such a good director, so she's really making us go into the background of our lives. You end up with a really strong knowledge of who you are playing, and that informs so much of the emotion behind what you're saying.
Claire is in a really difficult situation in as much as she has, on top of the issues of having a disabled brother, her father has left, and it's had an impact on all her relationships, as we start to see throughout the play. So it's very interesting to see what happens when you bring back the father that's been absent for 5 years, and Grace portrays her beautifully.
I really like the fact that it deals with a sort of multi-generational family, and the fact that you see how this one event, how that's affected everyone, from his sister to his mother to the grandparents. I think Claire very much thinks that she is dealing with this absolutely by the book. She's got her grandmother's wit and the sort of sarcasm from her mum, and this real absolute steadfast self-righteousness. No, I'm right and you can't tell me otherwise. It's been a really wonderful dynamic between all the actors, I think, and a very detail-oriented process. This play was supposed to go on just before the first lockdown, and seeing the amount of heart that was already here and getting to share that with people and trying to honour the work that has already been put into this has been really special.
Ian is the estranged father, and I think when you first read the play, it's tempting to think of Ian as a bit of an arsehole. But actually, he's a good guy, and I know that in interviews, Rory Kinnear, the writer, has said that Ian is actually a good dad, which you might not think when you first see the play. But if you dig a little deeper, he's very well intentioned, and he's in a family of very strong people, especially strong women, and he's been pushed into a difficult place.
Well, The Herd is a play about an ordinary family who have been brought together and pulled apart by the additional pressures of having a severely disabled son. The unexpected arrival of my part, Ian, opens up the cracks and shows the underbelly and the raw emotions, what's gone in the history before. And what made the character interesting to me was that actually he is an ordinary person, and he has been through all of this too. He has all the same emotions and feelings that everybody else has, but he's gradually been pushed out of the situation. And it's not just about coming back for Andy, he wants reconciliation with the family.
Patricia and Brian, the grandparents of the family, are just adorable, both as actors and as characters. Patricia is so sharp and acerbic with her wit. You would think, looking on the paper, that you couldn't stand her, but you just can't help but love her. And Brian, played by John Tolputt, is just the light relief of the family. He's so gentle and funny and warm, and exactly what the family needs to balance out all of the stresses and strains of what they live through.
What I admire about this play is he is very good at building up the tension and then diffusing it with humour. 1 minute you're laughing and the next minute you're crying, and it makes it very powerful. I love playing Patricia. She started off, I think, very stereotypical, but as the journey's progressed, she's become more nuanced, and I've been able to get more out of the character. She has some wonderful put-downs, some great one-liners, and it's a joy to play.
Brian's an elderly chap, himself not very well, but somehow he manages his frustration with humour. I think it is a play that reveals itself in performance rather than when you read it. It is remarkably well constructed to hold the audience and make them feel for the characters on the stage.
Mark is the one character that isn't part of the herd. He's the outsider coming in, and he is the awkwardness that it brings is a lot of the hilarity in the play.
Mark is the lens, I think, of which the audience see the family through. Everything that's going on, he's there, and I think they feel his awkwardness. He comes into a family situation and does pretty well for himself amidst all of the chaos. The dramas that they go through are all quite intense, and he kind of takes it on the chin pretty well. I first heard about New Venture Theatre at the audition for the herd, for Mark's part, and it seemed like a great community. Everyone was very excited that I was going to be playing Mark, and I felt very welcome.
I think when you're trying to cast a play, the thing that you're most looking for is the chemistry, the reactions between the individual characters. And then every once in a while you find yourself in a situation where literally the chemistry is between every actor. It's kind of magic when it happens. And with the herd, this is what's happened. And so when you take that kind of chemistry and you blend it with a script that's as beautifully crafted as the herd, what you end up is something that an audience can experience that you could never wish to have on a screen, for example. And to me, that's what theatre is all about. It's being in the room with that kind of chemistry. And it's the thing that I'm most excited to share with an audience.